Well, the mid-May warm stretch continued, and the sun brought out new tulips every day. It was a feast for the soul when we drove in the driveway, and so we'd take a few minutes to admire the details in all their ephemeral glory, and then get right back to work on the cabin garden. And while Allie continued with the raised beds, I started on the gate and the fence posts. I was using the old red gate that my mom had on her garden for as long as I can remember.
It might as well come all the way, it'll go like square here. We can dig this up.
I like that there's a higher and a lower one.
Me too, I love it. I think it looks so cool.
It's really, there's some mistakes for sure, but it will work.
It's just meant to hold dirt.
Yeah,
that's all it does.
It was hot. 80 degrees, I think even close to 90 one day. And it was during this quick stretch of hot sunny days that the forest went from mostly gray to full green. It happened so fast it was hard to register, but I always notice it most by the cozy feeling that comes with the full forest. The hills wrap their arms around you, and suddenly you feel protected. And then you realize it's because you can't see through the trees anymore. You have forest walls on all sides, and then the clearings create your own little world. And so you feel at ease, and you feel happy, because seeing the green forest in the spring is like seeing an old friend after many months apart.
I didn't want to block off this daffodil, but
you had to.
I don't have to. I could go.
Well, you can't just build a fence around one daffodil thing. The garden fence.
I'm trying to figure out where would be the best for the fence.
You're figuring out what's best for the daffodil.
No. Nice.
And so just like when I was a kid, we built our fortress out of beech trees and spent a few afternoons in the sun and the dirt. And since a lot of our days are spent behind a computer screen working, it's days like this that I cherish. These are the kind of days I've been working hard towards for many years, in the same way that building a garden with my companion is a dream of mine too.
Oh, there it goes again.
It's so cool. Whoa.
And we cooled off in the stream for rejuvenation. And while I was dying to get to work on the structure, the garden was timely and a very important part of the property that should be done with care and full effort.
Yeah, so just in general, wait and see.
bought vermiculite and peat moss to mix in with the black gold from our favorite farm.
This is like real fun.
And we'd work until dark, wake up and do computer work all morning, and then head back to the cabin and keep at it. And along the way, we planted new things, like this pussy willow tree, which hopefully would provide signs of spring for years to come. And we set up the stone bench that Allie's father gave me so we'd have a place to sit and admire the garden's progress.
And then we could just overlook the whole garden. This is the coolest thing.
And we could use it as a shelf too.
And the blooms from everything we planted last year made our hearts soar. And after many hours in the hot sun, our project was really starting to take shape.
Could you believe it? I know.
And though we were close, there was still plenty more to do, as every project is always more involved and takes longer than you expected.
There's so many.
next day we were able to get there. I wanted to replace a few bushes that didn't survive the winter and add a few new ones too. And as I gathered water for the plants, a lone chickadee watched from a branch. And while I planted, Allie gathered stones for the bottom of the fence. And then we began leveling out the inside of the garden and creating spots in the corners for larger veggies like zucchini. And carrying rock after rock and bucket after bucket of dirt was exhausting. But it's always good to treat it as a workout and focus on your form and make the most of the repetitive motion. And one day, when we were working on the garden, I got a message that my grandmother of 105 had passed. There had been troubles recently, so it wasn't out of the blue. But at one point after I told Allie about it, I cried on her shoulder. Because no matter how prepared you are, death is sad. And it was only a couple days later that my mom told me our little dog Danko wasn't doing well. And he had been struggling for a long time too. She asked me to dig the hole under the oak tree next to Jack the Aussie, overlooking the river bend. She said he was dedicated until the end, and even though he could barely move his hind legs, he never missed a walk.
Great, Joe.
And as I paced around the property and through the house, waiting for my mom to return, I wondered how Hudson would feel without his little companion. And I did what I always do when I'm sad, and wandered down to the river. Except this time I had Allie with me, and she helps make me smile. She notices every spider and every critter, and helps me appreciate all the little life around us. And while we were down there, a massive caddisfly hatch started, and the air was thick with them fluttering madly up the river.
Got one.
Oh, there it goes. I thought you didn't have her.
See how it has a tent wing like that?
Yeah.
That's how you can tell it's a cat. It's like,
And the most beautiful moment happened as we laid Danko down in the flowering yard. The rooster began crowing out of the blue, a royal send-off to a fellow resident of the little red house. And back in the mill town, I witnessed the most precious scene as I drove by an old white house one morning. There's a magnolia tree in the front yard, and the pink petals had began to fall all over. And in the walkway was a little girl in a pink dress, sitting on the stones, picking the petals up, dropping them, and watching them fall. Her father mowed the lawn under the tree, turning the petals into fertilizer for the summer grass, continuing the cycle. And while rare delicacies grew from the earth, the Appalachian Trail hikers began pouring in from the hills, and the bikes started stacking outside the ice cream shop. And there's something about sadness, especially mixed with the energy of spring, that always sends melodies into my head. One afternoon, as the sun and rain competed, I took my fly rod out for the first cast of the season. And again, the caddis were thick in the air.
You see it, Mom?
And the rain made the forest feel more lush than ever. And the spring flowers along the banks could cheer up any wounded heart. Though I love the ponds and the mountains and the fields, it's the riverbanks where I feel most at home. May the cold rush of the water forever heal me. May these back roads guide me to wherever I need to be. May the forest protect me, and may the fields show me the universe.
Really?
They say energy is never lost, only transferred. And that makes you appreciate what had to happen in order for the beauty of spring to bloom. No matter what happens in my life, the river always flows. And the best way I've found to mimic its grace is to accept what I cannot change and understand that everything happens just as it should.